Today I want to show you how easy it is to set up a tray with 3 different ingredients. And we're going to talk a little bit about tray placement. We're going to talk about TempSensor placement. We're going to talk about how to properly fill a zone. And I'm also going to show you how on Brava's touchscreen, how easy it is to find any Brava recipe so that you can cook anything at the press of a button. First, we're going to click on the cook tile. Here, all the recipe programs are listed by category. Under vegetables, you'll see chicken. Let's click on that. Then, since we're cooking chicken breasts, I'll click on the first option near the top. Now we can see all the chicken breast recipe programs. Scroll down through the list until you come to the program we're looking for: chicken breasts, butternut squash, and Brussels sprouts. You'll see it right there in the middle of the screen. There's another way of finding what we're looking for. Instead of clicking on the cook tile, we can use the search feature. Let's click on search. It's a big time saver to use the search filters instead of having to type out each of the ingredients in the search bar on the top. If you look near the bottom of the first set of filters in orange, you'll see 3 zone cooks. That's what we want to select. Now, all of Brava's recipe programs are filtered down to just the 3 zone cook options. As you can see, the second option is what we're looking for. Let's go ahead and select it. And you're going to see a bunch of different things here. And it's important that you work through each of these the first couple of times that you use Brava. As you become more familiar with it, you can certainly skip through some of these screens. But it's going to tell you this little yellow icon here and the yellow exclamation mark there are telling you that you have something that you need to do. When we click into this first one, it's going to ask us how thick the chicken breasts were. I know that they were just under 1.5 inches, so I'm going to plop it there. Next, you want to select your doneness. Here is a video that can show you a little bit more of how to properly insert the TempSensor horizontally. Here, it's telling you that you have to connect the TempSensor inside Brava. We've covered that in different videos. Once you have everything connected, you want to slide everything into the top shelf. And you can see this little icon here is pointing up. When we have a bottom shelf cook, it will point down and will indicate right there. And then this is now your final check screen to make sure that everything's good to go. And then once you're ready, all you do is push that green button. So for those of you that have been using Brava for a while, this couldn't be easier, because once you know how to insert the TempSensor, all you need to do is go in here, tell it how thick your chicken is, tell it what doneness you would like, make sure that the TempSensor is connected, and then you can really skip all the way to the final screen there. One other important thing to know about your home screen here is that you can favorite your recipe by clicking the heart right there. You can unfavorite it by clicking that again. And more importantly, the helpful hints. This is where you'll find the whole recipe. So it's going to tell you all the ingredients that you need. And notice right here, you can click through to the second page, and there's going to be a bunch of different pages that give you instructions first. And here I'm just going to season it up. And I'm going to use just a little bit of Brava's chicken rub. You could use salt and pepper, or any seasoning that you like. Just try to make sure it doesn't have a bunch of sugar in it. Great. Make sure that this guy is over here. Next step will be the butternut squash. I'm just very simply going to take our butternut in a mixing bowl here. A little bit of olive oil or cooking oil, pinch of salt. Toss these together and load them into zone 3. Now, if you did this, you will have underfilled your zone and your butternut squash will likely burn. So you want to make sure that you fill the zone fully, but you're not trying to overdo it either. You don't want to have like 2 or 3 layers of butternut squash on there. You want it to be touching the tray. But that's good. Right there is fine. Add a few more pieces if you want. That looks good to me. The next step is to do our Brussels sprouts. Kind of the same thing here. I'm just going to put a little bit of oil, sprinkling of salt. It's okay if the chicken and the Brussels are touching a little bit. It's not a problem at all. You want to make sure to fill these zones fully. Also, just to maximize the amount of ingredients that you can cook. Now the final step here will be inserting the TempSensor. Make sure you measure the chicken. You can see this is about 1.5 a little under 1.5. I want to make sure to insert it horizontally through the thickest portion of the breast. And now we're ready to go plug the TempSensor into Brava and cook it. Loaded my tray into the top shelf. I'm going to go ahead and just do my last double check. All we got to do now is press the button. One important thing to keep in mind is that you want to make sure that the protein that you put on there, the chicken, the pork chops, the salmon, the steaks, are very cold, like right out of the refrigerator when you put them into Brava. This isn't as big of a deal for larger cuts like whole chickens and big pork loin roasts that are 3 to 4 pounds. But for smaller individual pieces of meat, we definitely want you to put them in there when they are very cold. This allows you to stay in the sear cycle a little bit longer, and it gives you a greater chance of getting a perfect sear. That you can do some substitutions. Things that are similar color or similar size tend to be pretty good substitutes for each other. So, for example, butternut squash is a great substitute for sweet potatoes. They're very similar density, color, size. Broccoli actually is a pretty good substitute for Brussels sprouts. So if it's a tender, thin green vegetable like snow peas and snap peas, it can work perfectly interchangeably. So just know that if you don't find exactly what you're looking for, find the thing that's closest to it and give it a try. And we just took our chicken and Brussels and butternut right out of the Brava. I'm going to remove that TempSensor. And we're done. Everything's done to perfection. Covered how to search for any recipe either using the cook tile or Brava's search feature. We've covered how to properly fill a zone. We covered how to insert the TempSensor. And we covered that you want to make sure that the proteins that you put into Brava are super cold straight from the refrigerator. So I hope that you enjoy this recipe as much as I'm about to. And until next time, happy cooking.